So all in all, there will be lots of news flow starting soon.
You've expanded the drill program recently. Was that the rationale for doing that?
We now have a program underway of 16,500 meters. Our infrastructure is fantastic. Everything is there that you need. You can literally drive on a paved highway onto the project. And we got right off the bat good recoveries, nice saleable concentrate numbers.
What will success look like for the company by next summer?
I firmly believe that high copper prices are here to stay. Much more is needed in terms of exploration, and more new discoveries are needed to fill that demand for copper in the future.
Welcome back to the Investing Money and Markets podcast. And this week we're talking about copper mining, specifically Canadian copper mining. It's a very exciting market, and we are joined by Kodiak Copper, which has a copper project in British Columbia. CEO Claudia Tornquist joins us on the podcast today. Welcome to the show, Claudia.
Well, hello, and thanks for having me. It's great to be here, Stuart.
So our regular readers on the website will be familiar with Kodiak Copper because we've been following the company for quite a while now, but our podcast subscribers and YouTube subscribers may be a little less familiar with it. So I was wondering if you could kick off with a quick overview of the company itself.
Yes, certainly. Kodiak is a copper exploration company focused on the MPD copper gold porphyry project in southern British Columbia. Company was founded by Chris Taylor of Great Bear fame, and Chris is also the chairman of the company and very much leads the technical side of Kodiak's strategy. And Kodiak has been exploring at MPD for 7 years now. We've consolidated the district to generate critical mass and also drilled 90,000 meters over the last 7 years. So big programs every year. And it just brought us to an important milestone that we reached recently with a maiden resource estimate that was well received by the market and was obviously a big important milestone for the company. And it's now onwards and upwards from there, and all about resource growth and further discovery.
And it has been relatively steady news flow coming out of the company over the last few years. It's never threatened to go completely quiet. But why would you say is now an exciting time for investors to be revisiting it?
Well, we've just announced an upsize to our drill program. We now have a program underway of 16,500 meters. I've just been at site last week. We have two drill rigs humming and everything progressing really well. And we are working on expanding our resource. All of the deposits that make up the resource are still open. So lots of growth potential. And that's one focus of our drilling. And we then have also, at current count, 36 further targets. It's a very target-rich prospective property. And those targets could host further mineralized zones and further discoveries. And we will drill some of those as well. So that's exciting. And that's our exploration upside. So all in all, there will be lots of news flow starting soon. We are expecting the first news in August. Drill results and exploration results, and then throughout the second half of the year, lots of news flow, lots of exploration results. And in the first quarter of the next year of 2027, we have guided that we will come out with a resource update that incorporates all this year's drill results. And that's, again, a big important milestone and catalyst for the company. And we expect the resource then to be significantly, materially larger than our initial maiden resource.
And you've expanded the drill program recently. Was that the rationale for doing that?
Exactly. We were able to raise $15 million from good institutional investors, successfully financed. with the view to increasing our drill program. We initially had planned 6,500 for the year and then added 10,000. So big drill program now going on this year. And that's, of course, exciting.
And from where you're sitting, how much upside do you think remains outside the current resource estimate? I know it's a tough question to answer, but I mean, just from your perspective.
Well, our current resource consists of 7 deposits, and as I mentioned, we have currently 36 additional targets on the property that are at various stages being explored, being advanced, and that could host further mineralized zones. These porphyry systems and districts that we have at our project typically come in clusters of deposits. That's just the way they are in place, and they are generated geologically. So you have clusters of deposits coming together, and that's what we see. We have 2 clusters on our property, one in the northern part, one in the southern part. And are there further deposits part of that cluster? That might well be, and that's what we're exploring for, and that's the excitement. So we will certainly test several of our current 36 targets, and if we are successful with one or several of them, that would of course be a big step forward for the project and a catalyst for our shareholders.
And if we take a step back and we look at the MPD project and compare it with some of the other ones out there, what do you think is its big differentiator?
Well, one thing that is a big positive for our project is where it's located. We are in southern British Columbia in a long established mining district between 2 large copper mines. Highland Valley, that's Teck's large mine, and Canada's largest copper mine, is 30 kilometers to our north, and the other mine nearby is Hudbay's Copper Mountain mine, 20 kilometers to our south. Both large copper mines, and there are many other mines, historic mines in the region. And what that means is that our infrastructure is fantastic. Everything is there that you need. You can literally drive on a paved highway onto the project. There is electricity, there's workforce, there are all the services that makes our exploration cost very low, and also in the future it will be a big advantage. It will be much more cost effective and much easier to permit and build a mine where we are than in remote locations where many other projects are located.
And if we look outside the pure drill results, obviously drill results are what people will be really watching, but are there any other aspects of the project that investors should be looking at the moment and going forwards that you think attention should be drawn to?
Another important piece of work that we've recently completed is metallurgical testing. We did 2 stages of testing already and had positive results from that, from our data. What we can see now is that our processing will be quite standard, straightforward flotation processing. We got right off the bat good recoveries, nice saleable concentrate numbers. So it looks that our metallurgy of the project will be quite plain vanilla. And that again is also a big positive, because if metallurgy is difficult, that can have very significant effects on a project's economics. So to have good, straightforward results right off the bat, that also was an important step forward for the project.
And obviously the team behind the company, again, something that seasoned mining investors spend a lot of time looking at. Can you tell us a little bit more about the core Kodiak team that's managing this?
Well, most importantly, obviously, founder and chairman is Chris Taylor. And what many people don't know is that Chris's specialty as a geologist is actually copper porphyries. He started his professional career working as a porphyry geologist in North America. So really that's his home turf, and he leads our technical strategy. Myself, my background is more the business side. I've been in resources now for 25 years, and have been for 10 or so years with Rio Tinto. And my roles over the years have been things like business evaluation, M&A, business development, so more the financial, commercial side of things. So Chris and I are very complementary in what we bring to the company. Chris very much covers the technical side. I'm the financial, business, and capital market side of things.
Understood. And looking at MPD, if we look ahead to like this time next year, I mean, what, from your perspective, what will success look like for the company by next summer?
Mm-hmm. Well, our next big milestone that will come up is the resource update in the first quarter of 2027. As I mentioned, all of this year's drill results will go into an update resource that we expect to be materially larger than our maiden resource. And our maiden resource was already large with 3.2 billion pounds of copper equivalent in the resource between indicated and inferred categories. But there is still lots of potential to grow for this resource. All of the deposits that make up the resource are open. And as I mentioned, we are drilling most, if not all of them this year. And so our next resource will be an important catalyst. And from there, we will then decide whether to go into economic evaluation or continue drilling and growing the project even further.
And I also wanted to ask you, given that you're obviously in the copper sector, copper is something that a lot of people are excited about right now. What's your perspective on the copper market? Because the impression I'm getting is that there are nowhere near enough new projects coming online, and that the more needs to really be done to source new copper if a lot of other wider geostrategic projects like electrification and AI are going to continue to grow at current rates.
I think you've put it very well, and I very much agree. The demand side for copper looks strong with electrification, AI, defense. So lots of sectors that are growing fast and are very copper intensive. And the supply side looks very, very weak. And there are not many new projects in the pipeline at all, and many aging mines with production declining. If you look at discoveries of traditionally in the 90s, 2000s, there were more than 100 large discoveries of more than 500,000 tons of copper per decade. And then it really fell off the cliff. In the 2010s, there were 35 or so. And then since 2020, we've had 6 or 7 large discoveries. So very steep decline. And keeping in mind that it takes some 20 years or so from discovery to production, at least, then we know already now, because in the last 20 years not much was discovered, that in the next 20 years not much will be coming on. And that's in an environment where there's very strong demand and lots of need for copper. So the fundamentals look certainly very strong for a company with an existing copper discovery such as Kodiak Copper, and much more is needed in terms of exploration, and more new discoveries are needed to fill that demand for copper in the future.
So that basically we could be looking at a real squeeze on copper supplies and a much increase in copper prices as well.
That's very much what just about every analyst forecasts. I don't think I have seen any supply-demand forecast in recent years that shows a copper surplus. They all forecast deficits, partly very large deficits. And yeah, I firmly believe that high copper prices are here to stay, and the days of $4 copper are in the past, and I don't think we'll see those again.
And Kodiak, it's not just about the MPD project. You have another project down in Arizona as well. Could you tell us a little bit more about that and what's been going on with that?
Yes, we have a second porphyry project in our portfolio called Mohave in Arizona. It's many ways similar to MPD, great infrastructure and some interesting drill results, but Mohave is still earlier stage. It's exploration stage. And we have just recently announced a transaction with Teck Resources to vend the Mohave project into a new copper company. Teck will also put one of their Arizona exploration projects into the new company, which will be called Kodiak Copper, to essentially create a new US-focused copper exploration company that will be independently managed, funded, and that will have 2 porphyry projects that are ready to drill and have big discovery upside. So that's a transaction we've announced. We're expecting to close in the third quarter. And Kodiak and Teck will then be both large shareholders with a 25% plus shareholding of Kodiak Copper. And that for Kodiak, the strategy is essentially to monetize or crystallize the value of the Mohave project for our shareholders. At its current form in our portfolio, I don't think our shareholders receive any value for the project. But with this transaction, Kodiak will then have a share packet of Kodiak Copper on its balance sheet, and with some success, and I think K is very well placed to generate some good results and the real re-rating, then this share packet will have significant value and could in the future then either be spun out to our shareholders or monetized in some form, and we will be able to capture the value of the Mohave project that way.
Oh, very good. Exciting to get something that's potentially quite passive to suddenly have new life and add some real value to the underlying company.
I'm certainly excited about the transaction. It's a little bit the cherry on the cake, I would say. And most importantly, it will allow us to focus fully on our MPD project and on really unlocking the value in that project.
And finally, I just wanted to ask you, for people who are coming to the Kodiak Copper story for the first time and not be as familiar with the company as I am, what's the one thing that you think they should understand about the opportunity?
Well, it's a copper porphyry project. Porphyries are big prizes, very large discoveries, large projects, and can be worth billions of dollars. And we have here one in a great jurisdiction with the right team behind it, particularly Chris Taylor, that has already been significantly de-risked with a maiden resource and with still a lot of upside to come. If you compare Kodiak's valuation to some of our peers who are more advanced, companies such as North Isle or Faraday or Cisco Metals, who also explore for porphyries in North America, but are already further down the road with a bigger resource or PEA, those companies trade at valuations that are multiple times higher than what Kodiak currently trades at. And that's where we want to get to, and I think have a very good shot at getting to, and that's what we're working on. And that's what I'm very excited about for the coming month for Kodiak.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much indeed for coming on the podcast today. I will be following events at Kodiak with great interest because I personally think it's a very exciting project. But thank you, Claudia, for speaking to us about it this afternoon.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
The content of this podcast is for information and entertainment purposes only and does not constitute financial advice. The views and opinions expressed by guests or hosts are their own and do not necessarily reflect those of the armchair trader. Investments can go up and down in value, and you may not get back the amount you originally invested. Past performance is not a reliable indicator of future results. We do not provide any personal investment, tax, or legal advice. Always do your own research or seek independent professional advice before making any financial decisions. The Armchair Trader is a media company and is not authorized or regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority.